Well, I wasn't sure what I was going to lead with here on the Robin Lundberg show, and then it became very obvious. Became very obvious an hour or so ago. Look, I want to talk about X-Men 97. I really would like to talk about that, but I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really, talk about it at this very moment in time. I will get to it in the show because I know that's an exciting moment. Even LeBron James was tweeting about it. But when you see the title of this show, and I put it together quickly because like I tell you guys, I'm running back and forth from practices and the like. But here's what I mean by Shohei Ohtani and NBA parlay. The Shohei Ohtani thing is a much bigger deal, but when you see these two things together, right? You see JB Bickerstaff says he and his family have received threats over lost bets and parlays, and then you see Shohei Ohtani's translator and friend was fired by the Dodgers on Wednesday amid accusations from Ohtani's lawyers of the theft of millions of dollars. Now, the NBA story people have been talking about for a minute now. Really, what happened with the league pass and them trying to incorporate sports gambling into NBA league pass, that received a little bit of blowback. And I don't know if you saw Tyrese Halliburton's comments from earlier this week, where he was talking about his slump and how, to so many people, he's just a prop. He's just a player prop, and they're pissed off at him, and he gets those messages. And here's the actual quote. Let me just play it for you real quick because I want to set the context of all of this as I'm doing this show here live on YouTube, X, and Facebook.
You spoke to a sports college with the Pacers, and if so, like, what was that process like? Because as an athlete, you're super confident all the time, right? But there are moments where you might need to like just hear somebody's perspective on something that you're going through that's unique.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've done that for kind of the last couple of years. It's been good for me, even when I'm not. I don't want to just talk to them when I'm struggling. Like I think there has to be conversation at other times too, because I think obviously what happens on the court is what happens on the court, but like, just life in general, it's important. I think for us as basketball players, as men, to get those things out, because not everybody cares to hear how we feel, or that's just point blank period. I mean, to half the world, I'm just helping them make money on DraftKings or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm a prop. You know what I mean? Like that's what my social media mostly consists of. I think it's important for us to like have some.
Which is why Kevin Durant had said, he's always like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up your parlay." I've been talking about putting the exchange I had with Katie on the wall back here, but Kevin Durant must see that all the time. These guys must see that all the time now. And sports gambling has become, totally synonymous. It's like there's no separation between sports gambling and sports anymore. All of the major leagues are advertising sports gambling. The sports gambling sites are putting out content themselves. DraftKings, MGM, FanDuel putting out content themselves. And I'm not saying this as some anti-sports gambling message. I participate. I have an account with a bunch of those different platforms. I think it's fun. I think it's harmless to to a large extent, because these things happened before. Sports gambling existed before, but now it's just so in your face. And there is this concern about a scandal looming. And the Shohei Ohtani one is the big one, because MLB, people might not have noticed it, but it had its opening day earlier today. And that was in Seoul, Korea, and the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. And of course, this news comes out after all that took place. And this is the kind of thing that people are going to be very, very skeptical about. Now, before we sit here and bash the legalized sports gambling, I want to be very clear. I don't think this has anything to do with that. It seems to me that this story was about non-legal sports gambling. I still need to catch myself up on every aspect of it, but it doesn't seem like this is a sports gambling scandal that has anything to do with the legalization in mass of sports gambling in the United States. This seems like a whole other deal. But here's the story itself from part of the ESPN article. Jeff Passan, initially a spokesman for Ohtani, told ESPN the slugger had transferred the funds to cover Misahara's gambling debt. The spokesman presented Misahara to ESPN for a 90-minute interview Tuesday night, during which he laid out his account in great detail. However, as ESPN prepared to publish the story, the spokesman disavowed the account and said Ohtani's lawyers would issue a statement. In the course of responding to recent media inquiries, we discovered that Shohei has been the victim of massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to the authorities. Now, this is very curious. The timing, the way this is played out, and it's going to lead to lots of speculation about whether this story from Shohei is on the up and up. It is. Because there are going to be people who believe I don't know if we have reason to believe. I can't tell you what I believe right now because these things are still playing out in real time. And I'm not going to make a judgment until I see and receive all the information. But it's not a crazy thing to speculate that Shohei Ohtani was betting a ton of money or he and his interpreter together were betting a ton of money. And the interpreter is now the fall guy because he wired him the money, right? According to that story. And then it's theft after the details start to get public. Very strange. Very strange. Now, I want to give Shohei the benefit of the doubt. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. We have no idea if this has anything to do with baseball, of course. You know, we don't know if this is a Pete Rose kind of situation that could be lingering under the surface. But it is certainly a big effing deal. And it is certainly now the biggest story in sports, unquestionably. It is the biggest story in sports. Maybe in the world, when you consider the fame of Shohei Ohtani and the magnitude of this. Because baseball, they have a precedent, as I just mentioned, when it comes to gambling. Pete Rose can't get in the Hall of Fame. That's not a steroid thing. I mean, he was banned from the sport. Now, he claims he didn't bet on his team or never bet on them to lose. I forget the details of it. It's been a long time. I've talked to Pete a few times. But it's not the kind of story MLB wants right before opening day. Let's put it that way. Definitely not the kind of story MLB wants before opening day. And that is the situation we're dealing with right now. In real time. As we sort of digest it. Here's the thing I know. If I ever lose a sports bet again, I'm blaming my interpreter. That wasn't on me. And remember, Michael Jordan, I've seen the jokes like Shohei Ohtani is truly the Michael Jordan of baseball. I don't know the history of Michael Jordan's gambling, but there was certainly a lot of speculation that Michael Jordan had gambling, an affinity for gambling. Let's put it that way. An affinity for gambling, a like of gambling. And that's where we're at right now with Shohei Ohtani. It's a crazy story. Get your comments in. Let me know what you guys think. They weren't working on X yesterday, but I will see if they're coming in through there today, if I can respond to you through the X machine. Obviously, I should be up on Facebook and YouTube at this point in time. And I don't really talk. I haven't talked baseball. I'm not known for talking baseball. But that, that's such a big story in the aggregate across the board that I did think it was worth discussing and delving into as it was breaking, especially in conjunction with what I said about Tyrese Halliburton and JB Bickerstaff, who both came out about, the the way they're treated or what they're hearing from sports gamblers. Here was JB Bickerstaff's comments. If you haven't seen them, he had this to say. He's had people find his number and call and threaten him and his family over lost bets and ruined parlays over the last 2 years. It's crossed a line for sure. So I suppose that is where the proliferation of sports gambling comes into play, where so many people have access to it now that you're going to, I don't know if it means it's more likely to be a scandal, because again, the Shohei Ohtani thing doesn't seem to be part of the legalized sports gambling. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with it. Even if you remember the LeBron James Maverick Carter story, didn't have anything to do with sports gambling or legalized sports gambling in this country. It was all more so about, off-seas, overshore booking and bookies and the like. But when everybody has access to it at the click of their phone, like I could place bets right now, that would be where you get some of this brushback and where you get the players like Tyrese Halliburton saying, hey, I'm not just a player prop. I'm not just a over 21.5 points or over 8.5 assists. I'm a basketball player for one as a profession, but as far as being a person too, calm down. I'm struggling on the court professionally, and I might be struggling personally at the same time. You don't know me just because you placed a bet on me. Now the Ohtani thing is a whole different ordeal. We're going into like real scandal territory there. That could potentially be huge and enormous. Jason says, is the Ohtani gambling scandal going to be sponsored by FanDuel or DraftKings? It does feel like everything is sponsored by one of those two. I would be, full disclosure, they want to sponsor me. I mean, they got to get in line behind Polar Seltzer, but I would gladly take on the sponsorship. I have used FanDuel and used DraftKings and BetMGM. I was just on BetMGM right before their show. I was on with them right before this show just now. So I won't turn that down, and I won't say I won't sit here and tell you it's terrible, because I enjoy it. I like it. It hasn't made me, feel like doing shady things. But when everybody has access to it, and here's the thing, it does change the way that you approach the sport and consume the sport. And that could be the issue for some. Like, it makes it harder when you are placing bets to make a game more interesting, to then be interested in the game without any skin in the game. And that's part of the problem, I think, in addition to people just rooting for parlays and whatnot. But I'll see a game on and I'll be like, all right, let me throw $5 on this, or let me, bet on this prop just to make it more interesting. And then you wind up watching the game because of that. But if you don't have anything on the game, do you have the same passion that you once had for the game? Now, the sports leagues understand that. I mean, that's why the NBA wants to integrate it with the League Pass app, because they know they get more people gambling on the game. They'll get more people watching and downloading and, participating and buying their product. I believe this is our incarcerated Bob, is it not? He used to call into the radio show. Ohtani gambles on baseball. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what the deal is with Shohei Ohtani. We'll find out more. Trust me, this is not the end of this. This story is not wrapped up nice and tidy like they want it to be. There will be more. Fall Guy, look, that's going to be the 1,000%. That's going to be the speculation that the interpreter's the fall guy, that he and Ohtani were doing this together, and all of a sudden when it gets out there, it's like, you guys, sorry, you got to go. Peace out. Sayonara. I suppose that would be the, proper way to say it. Sayonara is Japanese, right? Sayonara. You got to go. Ernesto says, I'm glad I'm a Mets fan. I don't know what being a Mets fan has to do with this. You mean not a Dodgers fan? Because it's a tough start to the season for MLB. I mean, they thought today, there's no question, they thought today was going to be like a celebration of the game. There were complaints earlier today about like how, the game was on at a crazy time and people couldn't watch and all that. But I understood it. I mean, look, it's America's pastime, but if you're trying to grow the game and you're trying to expand, I thought it was good marketing, to be honest. Maybe they could have marketed that it was happening better, but I thought it was good marketing. But they certainly didn't want this to come out after the fact. And I'm not going to make any blanket statements or accusations until I know more about this story. But that is certainly, the going to be the biggest story in sports. And people are going to call for his suspension. People are going to wonder what Ohtani's role is. You're going to see the name Pete Rose come up. You're going to see Rob Manfred pressed on this a lot. It ain't going away. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, a pressure on the diet. I think if Ohtani's able to play, they got to consider that a win at this point. If he's able to continue playing and being available for them. Because it was strange the way this is. I won't say it wasn't strange. Now, maybe he's totally innocent. Maybe the guy was. Look, he's got so much money that it could feel like nothing to him. It could. There's also the way his contract was written, too, which is very strange, too, right? Like the deferred money. We hadn't seen something like that. So that factors into the speculation that people are going to have about this story as well. We'll see as it unfolds. Maybe we'll get more coming in as I'm live here, but I do want to get to some other things as well because typically I'm not gonna be a baseball show. It's just not my thing. But I thought this was big enough as a whole to touch upon, especially considering it just happened and I was going live. The other thing that happened today was X-Men 97. I mean, even LeBron James was tweeting about X-Men 97. And I can't wait to watch that show. I cannot wait to watch that show. There was a chance I would have led with that show today, to be honest with you, until this happened. And because I hadn't seen it, it didn't feel right. And if I'm being like, I'm super honest with you guys, I really am. The shows that I've done that led with the comic book and superhero stuff have been some of my lower performing shows. So I didn't want to lead with it off the bat. As I'm finding out the identity of this show and what resonates with the audience. Obviously, people know me from basketball, so the NBA stuff has done well. The shorts do well no matter what I'm covering my interests, and I like the mix of topics because they're interesting to me. So I think I could certainly keep that, but I might lean into leading with a certain thing over time. A certain sport, a certain lane over time if I see that is the return and what people want. But I showed this on the show before. Not only do I have Incredible Hulk 181 up there, which is the first appearance of Wolverine, but this is X-Men #1 from Jim Lee signed by Jim Lee, right there. And I don't know if people who didn't live through that quite understand how important the X-Men are and how big a deal the X-Men are and how big a deal this X-Men show was. I mean, like I've said, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and then X-Men, and those were the things that stood the test of time. Those were the things that got me up Saturday morning. And now the X-Men stuff just looks ill. It really does. I haven't, once I hear the theme, I'm going to be so pumped. And I really want to watch it with my kids too. So part of me is like, I kind of want to watch it and review it for this, but part of me wants to save it so I can watch it and experience it with them for the first time because they went back and watched the old show with me. I mean, look at this. This is sick.
Solid work, team. See you on the ground.
Okay, they made Cyclops a badass. I like that.
To me, my X-Men.
Oh, this is heat. Oh, that is heat! I love it. I love it. I already know the show is fire. That is absolute heat. My goodness. And Cyclops had been portrayed as kind of a lame in the movies, right? Kind of a lame. Damn, that was sick. I love it. I can't wait to watch the whole episode. If you guys got reviews, let me know. Hit me up in the chat with your reviews of the new X-Men show, of the new X-Men series, X-Men 97. Damn, that looks fire. I almost like, I play basketball on Wednesday nights, and you got Dynamite as well, but man, I want to find more clips and see if they'll ding my account or make me cut them out for the people who are watching later. That was fire. Here's one more. I gotta just do one more because that was so ill. Hold on. My guy, Big Business, one of my favorite accounts out there.
Your heart. Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful involuntary friendship.
Bishop, Gambit. Here's that theme music.
Surrender. Give him the forecast.
Oh, Storm.
Omega level threat detected.
Ancient sands, heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Oh yeah. That they nailed it. The X-Men are back, baby! Woo! That is sick. I am pumped about that. That is sick. Doug Developer says it's hilarious how there are YouTube channels condemning X-Men 97 as woke. Is it woke? I don't even know what woke means anymore. I mean, the X-Men by definition have always been woke, right? I mean, the X-Men were sort of an allegory for persecution and racism and discrimination. People have drawn the parallels between Magneto being Malcolm X and Professor X being Martin Luther King before in the past. But I mean, the whole premise is that the mutants are hated by society, right? Hated and feared by society, and therefore are punished. All those things. Those are that's the stuff that the X-Men are built upon. What was the comic called? God Loves Man Kills, I think was the name of it. God Loves Man Kills. And that was basically the premise of that. It was Chris Claremont, who was the X-Men writer for the longest time. And he wrote that comic that became, I don't know if it started as a graphic novel or it was always a graphic novel. Here's the cover of it right here. You can pull it up from Amazon. Yeah, this was it. God Loves Man Kills. And the basic premise was more or less that they were dealing with that sort of scrutiny at the time. Against an adversary threatening all of mutant kind in the name of God. There you go. So the X-Men have always been as woke as there is. I don't know what's specifically woke about this new X-Men show. Nobody's really told me. Nobody's really told me. So if there's something woke about this new X-Men show, let me know in the comment section so I can understand why this is being called woke. Because the X-Men have always been about that. And I didn't see anything from those damn clips I played that says woke. By the way, there's a chance, like, if you're watching this on delay or watching this later, that I have to clip that out. But I feel like for the live experience, it's good to put in there. It's fun to put in there. I like putting it in to the show. It got me pumped up. Got me pumped up about the show for sure. And watching that, I can't wait to watch that with my kids. In fact, I might have to watch it before I get a chance to watch it with them, and then watch it after with them, because that was ill. That was as good as it gets. Those clips I just played of the X-Men, I am pumped. If the series is going to be like that, I mean, just hearing the theme music gets me pumped. But then I think about all the stuff that is going to come out. You know, like in Marvel, based around the X. The X-Men are the best characters in the history of comic books. There's no question in my mind. The best characters in the history of comic books, the best stories, and the best property that Marvel has, other than maybe Spider-Man. Like, you can always make the case for Spider-Man, right? But holy crap, was that good. Wow, I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see that now. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel and all that stuff. While you're in here commenting, let me know your thoughts on X-Men 97, what you thought of that in general, your impressions of X-Men 97. I wish I almost should have just watched it before I came on here, and I didn't have time. That's the unfortunate part, and led with that, because that was something else. That was amazing. I'll have to do a shorts review tomorrow on that. That was really cool. But yeah, if you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comment section here. As far as anything else, I wanted to get to a couple other things real quick. I saw Eminem is going to have a new album. Dr. Dre announced that on Jimmy Kimmel last night, I believe. Eminem is set to drop in 2024. They did a sketch, which was pretty good, on Kimmel. Kimmel's having a little bit of a moment right now. Jimmy Kimmel's having a little bit of a moment where, he had the whole thing with Aaron Rodgers, and then he had the line at the Oscars towards Trump, and then he gets this conglomerate here with him, with Dr. Dre announcing the Eminem album. And it's always so tough to rank Eminem historically. Ranking Eminem is people. I know there's this idea that Eminem doesn't get played in the club and nonsense like that. Like, Eminem gets played everywhere, dog. Eminem gets played everywhere. If you lived through the beginning of Eminem's career, I mean, the Marshall Mathers LP was the only thing I heard when that thing came out. And that was after Chronic 2001 was big, and M was really bubbling because of Chronic 2001 and forgot about Dre. But when Marshall Mathers LP came out and I am whatever you say I am, and Tia's gonna go, and Stan and those records, he was massive. And the Eminem show was massive. And 8 Mile was massive. And then he had a period of time where I do think he fell off. After Relapse, I quite enjoyed Relapse. I think it's underrated, Relapse as a record. But there was a period of time where I did not like the Marshall Mathers LP2 at all. I did not like, what was it called, Revival at all. Did not like those at all. But the way that he bounced back has been solid. He put out that Kamikaze project and Music to be Murdered By, which I think were better. I think the pitfalls he fell into where he was trying to like fit too many syllables into every line and every rap that he spit, and that was a little bit of an issue for him there for a minute. But when Eminem was in his prime, and he's still able to touch that, he was a monster. I mean, you can't say, he was on Renegade, right? And I'm the biggest Jay-Z fan in the world. And I don't think Eminem murdered him on his own the way people say. I think Jay's verses on Renegade are actually quite underrated. But that might be Eminem's best verse ever. He absolutely does murder it. Since I'm in a position to talk to these kids and they listen, I ain't no politician, but I'll kick it with them a minute because they see it. They call me a menace, and if the shoe fits, I'll wear it. But if they don't, then y'all swallow the truth, grin, and bear it. Now, who's the king of these rude, ludicrous, lucrative lyrics? I mean, come on. Destroyed that. And, I know the narrative, like Eminem's not played in the club, Eminem's not played here and there. I think Eminem's the #1 rapper on Spotify. And I think Eminem is the #1 artist on, what's the bike? Peloton. So I think you have to have Eminem in the top 5 greatest rappers ever list. I could make the case. Like, I think it's Jay-Z #1. But I understand where somebody would make the case of Eminem #1. I don't think he has the versatility of Hove or the catalog of Hove. But I'm not so sure he's not #2. And I think he's got to be in the top 5, objectively speaking. Not because he's a white boy either. I mean, because he's nice. He's nice. I mean, you say otherwise, you're just lying. You can say he's not your favorite. He doesn't make your favorite music. But he's nice. There's no question. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, please. Robin Lundberg Show. Here on YouTube, X, Twitter, all those different platforms. X gonna give it to you. But yeah. That is that boy's a problem. He is. I don't know what a current Eminem will sound like, but Eminem was really good. Really good. Can't say anything else. And then I know AEW's on right now, so probably bad timing for this wrestling related topic and question. But this I found this interesting because I saw the let me see if I can find the side by side. Yeah. Who's better all time? I'll give it Wrestling Uncover. That's the account that put it out. Who's better all time? CM Punk or Roman Reigns? That's a tough one. But I'm going to go with Roman. I think Punk has had these moments and he's like this rebel. where the pipe bomb promo obviously was a big one, and the pipe bomb promo and the return to AEW, the eventual return to WWE at Survivor Series, all those were big moments for CM Punk, but he hasn't been active consistently enough where he can be over Roman, in my mind. And Roman we forget because of The Rock, Roman has had this extended run now where he's just been going and going and going for years. And that's the, tribal chief persona. Paul Heyman actually did a thing with Barrett Sports Media at his summit where he explained the tribal chief character and who the tribal chief character is. In fact, here, let me I can play the clip for you real quick while I'm in the business of playing these clips. Let me share this one with you. Is this it? Yep, here we go.
Brando in Apocalypse Now. When the character of Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, by way of example, is inspired by Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. When we first started talking about the presentation of the tribal chief, I had Roman Reigns watch Apocalypse Now multiple times, because to me, that was the heart and soul of the character of the tribal chief. A warrior so great that he conquered his own island. We call it the island of relevancy. Someone who now all the natives, which is the WWE Universe, all the fans, all the performers on the roster, look to for guidance because he's the top star. On Apocalypse Now, Brando presented himself as a pseudo god. We call it a tribal chief. And then, as everyone relies on Kurtz Brando in Apocalypse Now, on this island, for guidance, for wisdom, for substance, for food, for shelter, you will lead us to the promised land, to the island of relevancy. He feels the burden of the responsibility, of the obligation, of the accountability to be the leader of all these people. And he resents them so much that when Martin Sheen kills him and opens up the book, Kurtz had written, "Drop the bomb, kill them all."
That's a pretty cool behind the scenes of the explanation of the tribal chief character. And I think when you look at it, because of the length of his reign, because of the popularity of this character, and because I know he's a part-timer, that consistency, I have to put Roman Reigns over CM Punk. So that's my answer to that. As I know AEW Dynamite is live right now. So I didn't, I probably didn't time that up so well if I wasn't reacting to Dynamite itself. Going back to the X-Men thing for a second, Doug Developer says there's a non-binary character, and that's why it is woke. Oh. Is there a new character? Is it Morph? Because no character makes more sense for that than Morph. I did not know, but oh yeah, it is Morph. I just looked it up. That makes perfect sense. It is Morph. So yeah, why would that be strange? I mean, the shapeshifter who can turn into anything doesn't have a specific identity. Man, I'm really pumped to watch that show. I feel like, is Marvel back because of that? I mean, the X-Men being back, I feel like Marvel might be back if the X-Men are back. That is a unbelievable, an unbelievable, coup for them to get those characters back and to play on. X-Men plays on not only the properties that they have, but the nostalgia, right? The nostalgia where you're going to get new fans who have never seen it before, and they're just going to be like, these characters are freaking cool. And you're going to get older fans who are like, yeah, of course these characters are freaking cool. I'm so glad they're back. This reminds me of my childhood. Da-na-na-na-na-na. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I see Mercedes Moné. It looks like she opened up for AEW today. Let's see if I can find that real quick for you as I'm sifting through these. But I've gone through everything on the rundown. So let me know if there's anything you want me to hit that I have not hit before I get out of here. I do play basketball on Wednesday nights, so try to get the show in early because I need to go play basketball. Also tomorrow night, just a forewarning, I may be early for the show, Robin Lundberg Show, Monday through Thursday here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and the like. May do an early show tomorrow because of some obligations I have for kids' activities in the nighttime.
Our Rampage main event will be the street fight.
I like the gear. I gotta say, I like the gear. Mercedes feels like a star over there. Can't front. You can't front on what she brings to the table to AEW. Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Pretty cool. Good to see her back in the pro wrestling business. She's the biggest star. She's the biggest star they got. I don't think there's a question about that. She, MJF, I get it. He could be considered the biggest star, but when you look at he's out of action. As she walks in the door, I think right now she's the biggest star. Is X-Men The Last Stand really that shitty as people say it is? And if you agree, why do you hate it? No. It's not good, but it is not Dark Phoenix level bad or what was the other? It's not X-Men Origins Wolverine level bad or Apocalypse. Ugh. Those ones suck. They suck. But it's not good. But it looks like a classic compared to Origins Wolverine, Dark Phoenix, and Apocalypse. I'll say that. I think of the X-Men movies, the first one was pretty darn good. It introduced that universe and those characters, and it really helped launch comic book movies in general, and made them a thing. I think X-Men 2 was really, really good and felt at the time like the best movie I'd ever seen. Over time, I've grown to love Days of Future Past, and I think that may actually be the best X-Men movie. What was the First Class was pretty good too. First Class has that unbelievable Magneto scene. And Logan. I didn't hate the Wolverine either. It was okay. It wasn't X-Men Origins Wolverine bad. I didn't hate the Wolverine. Logan obviously was great in and of itself. But that's the long and short of it. All right, guys. I'm going to go play basketball. I'll be back here tomorrow night, maybe tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate you guys as always. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please comment after the fact. I will get back to your comments. No question about it. I'll get back to your comments because that is, important. It's important that I get back to your comments and keep that interactivity going. I'll be back tomorrow. Same Robin Lundberg channel.